What are you doing with yourself? Why are you the same? Are you tired of getting the same results year after year after year? Bob Proctor, the star of the movie The Secret, says if you want to change, you have to change your paradigms that are controlling you. A paradigm is a bunch of habits. Everything you do is habitual. Your customs, your beliefs, the way you put your clothes on in the morning was taught to you by someone else. Who are you listening to? You want to change your weight, your salary, or your relationships, you first must start with your habits. Dr. Stephanie Aldrich, creator of the Habit Formula, has spent the last few years learning how to have love, health, and wealth. She has the secret sauce to all, and she wants to give it to you for free. Go to thehabitformulabook.com for more information.
Hey everybody, you know what time it is. It's lunchtime with the Habit Master. I'm your host, Dr. Stephanie Aldrich, and I get people's habits better, right? I stop the bad stuff and get the good stuff in. When you change your bad habits, you can change your life. Today is Famous Friday, and what we're going to talk about is the creation and the wonderful imagination of Walt Disney, okay? We're going to pick up 5 things from Walt Disney that you and I can do. We don't have to be able to draw, and I know this is my Mickey Mouse and it's terrible, okay? I apologize for my not being able to draw, but that doesn't mean I'm not a creative person too. It doesn't mean you're not creative just because you can't draw a mouse, right? Or draw anything else for that matter, right? So today we're going to talk about 5 habits that you and I can get and extract from Walt Disney's life and apply to our own. So before I get started, I wanted to remind you, if you haven't grabbed your free copy, go to thehabitformulabook.com. In it, go to the end of each chapter. You don't even have to read it if you don't want to. Go to the end of each chapter and answer the questions that are on in all of the exercises back there. And what they do is just break down the way to create a habit, the way to be aware of what's not serving you, and then how to change it, how to flip it around and do exactly what you want to do with your life. Whether it's professionally or personally, it can help you. Okay? So a little bit about Walt Disney. He was born in 1901 and he was only 65 when he died. The reason being is he had a very bad habit. And that's something that a lot of us, we all have bad habits. But one thing that actually, ended his life early was he was a heavy smoker. And back in the day, think of the time that was going on. It was very fashionable to be a smoker. He smoked unfiltered cigarettes, and he was just, bombing. He always had a cigarette in his mouth. One of his biographers said. He was born in Chicago, and he found out at an early age that he loved to draw. After school ended, him and his brother Roy, who also liked to draw, moved to California and they opened up a studio together. They developed the character Mickey Mouse after a pet mouse that Walt had while he was working at a different studio, okay? The pet's name was Mortimer, but they didn't like that name and went for Mickey instead. He was responsible for introducing sound and full-color animation to his films. He holds the record for the most Academy Awards. He won 22 times, 22 Oscars, the most of anybody still today, okay? You think of all the good actors and actresses, I think Tom Hanks has won 3, Meryl Streep of all people, I think she's only won 3. Think of all of these time-tested actors and actresses that have only won a couple. He won 22 times, and he was nominated 59 times. So he won half the time that he was nominated. So think of all of the wonderful films, storylines, characters that Walt Disney and his crew developed. And we're talking about a short amount of time. Now, just think of what kind of characters and films that they have done afterwards. Think of the theme parks. You know, if you have ever taken your family to one of the Disney World theme parks, the experience there is definitely something to remember by. Yes, you're going to remember it because you're going to be broke afterwards. I always say, as soon as we go to Disney, as soon as you walk in, they take your ticket and then they also take your wallet, right? But for people that have been there, you understand that you're there for an experience. You're there to kind of transform your imagination, transform your mind. You're not thinking about, work problems. You're not thinking about what you got to do tomorrow. You're present. You're looking all around. You're being aware of your environment, of all the awesome characters, of, what you want your child to do. And you kind of start getting yourself back into the childhood imagination, right? And that's something that we can all learn from Walt and his brother, Roy, is that even though you're an adult, you can also have an imagination and creativity. That doesn't mean you have to necessarily draw or, paint or sculpt or anything like that, or make music or anything like that. But what imagination creativity does is it can actually make you evolve, okay? Let's say you have a problem at work, right? And you're like, man, I'm throwing stuff at it and I just can't seem to come up with a solution to the problem. If you tap into that imagination, if you start thinking out of the box, and that's a famous saying I always say, you got to think the way that you're not thinking, right? You got to think something differently. You got to pull in your resources. Maybe you need some help. Maybe you need some other people that have had this kind of problem before in your business or at work, and see what you can do to create a different solution. Albert Einstein said the same method of thinking that caused the problem is not the same method of thinking that will give you the solution. So his imagination and creativity, you can use that. You and I everyone is born with creativity and imagination. In yesterday's video, we talked about the 6 mental faculties that everyone possesses. It's a part of our mind that we can tap into at any point to help us through our journey through life, right? And to improve anything that we want to improve, change anything, experience anything new, whatever. One of the mental faculties was imagination, okay? I'm not going to really harp on imagination though anymore, and it's not one of the 5 habits that we can gain from Walt and his brother, because I think it's too obvious. I think that when you think of Walt Disney, you're thinking of, oh my gosh, he was so creative, he was so imaginative. And yes, he was. And the fact that you and I can do the same kind of thing, you can, right? Never doubt it one bit, okay? But some of these other things that we're going to talk about here in a sec are things that you might not think about from an example of Walt Disney and his brother, okay? So the first one we're going to go into is adversity. Now you may not think that Walt and his brother would have adversity, right? They just think of all the end products, right? Think of how big Disney is. It's, hundreds of billions of dollars a year in revenue kind of thing. All of the merchandising and the film work and the animation and all of that stuff, all the TV specials and movies and, just whatever, okay? They didn't start out that way. And what you can learn from them is everybody starts from ground one, right? Everybody starts from the first step, and then there's many, many steps between point A and point B, right? Or point Z, as you say, to try to get to that end point. Walt had a lot of adversity at first, right? He was trying to get, his career going. Him and his brother started a studio together, the Walt Disney Studio. And all of a sudden, think of the time frame now, 1901 and 1966. What happened during that time? World War I, right? World War II, right? This guy is trying to grow up in a place where they're not necessarily thinking about taking their kids to an animated film, right? Nobody could afford that kind of stuff, right? So you got to think, what kind of adversity him and his brother met up against. And he really didn't take no for an answer. He always tried to do whatever he had to do to get his films, to get his passion out into the world. The second thing he did was he always had a clear vision of what the end product was. So for example, in the early 30s, that's when he was working on Snow White. It took him around 4 years to make that film. They had budgeted for $500,000. So back then, think of what $500,000 was. I think it ended up costing him $1.5 million, which in today's dollars, I looked up online, was around $27 million, which still is pretty cheap for a film nowadays, right? Although back then they're doing everything. They're not having a studio, computerize anything. They're actually hand making all of the cells. They're painting, they're drawing, all of that. But it's $27 million in today's dollars. Well, okay, they put $27 million out there. What did they get in the end? That year they made $6.5 million. Okay, so they had the vision that they're going to make this film no matter what, and that it's such a great story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs that he knew other people were going to enjoy it, right? It was a clean-cut film. It was love and friendship and helping other people, and he knew that was a good vibe, but he had to get there. He didn't let the fact that, they were running out of money to stop his vision. So him and his brother would work odd jobs. They would take odd jobs for creating different short commercials or short films for different companies. And that's what paid for Snow White to come on board. So he didn't take no for an answer. He didn't look at an obstacle that was in his way. Obviously, people need to get paid. They need to have food on the table. They need to be able to pay their rent so they have a place to live, right? He knew that wasn't going to stop him from living his dream. And you and I can't do that either. We can't allow, if we have something that we're working on, any kind of project, it doesn't have to be some dream kind of thing that, oh my God, my life will be in shambles if I don't get it, right? It could be as simple as, organizing your closet, okay? For some people, organization is a very big obstacle in their lives, right? So you got to just say, okay, I need to be able to start from where I am. Okay, my closet's a mess. What do I need? Okay, I need to have some hangers, some boxes, bags. I need to know what I'm going to donate, what I'm going to keep, and what I'm going to organize, right? And then you just got to start moving, okay? Obviously, you have to buy that stuff so that you can get started, right? You might have to move some shelves around, whatever. Or you pay somebody to come in and get it done. You might have to pay somebody to come in and install a closet organizer for you, and that will help you become more organized and get all your clothes in a better way so that they're actually organized and you can find what you're looking for, right? And they stay well, so that they're not getting ruined, kind of thing, right? Think of the adversity and think of the clear vision in that. Right? It can be something mundane as organizing your closet, but it can also be something that, let's say your health. Maybe you've had a health scare, or maybe that a certain type of health issue runs in your family. Your clear vision, no matter what the obstacle is, you've lost a leg in an accident or something. What is your vision of your health? You know that you must stay healthy in order to have a productive and long life and to give, humanity the gifts that you were born with, right? And we don't need to get philosophical today, but you understand what I'm saying here. What's your clear vision? You cannot allow any adversity to get in your way. Any kind of obstacle, it's usually an obstacle that you and I have made in our head, right? Okay, so, you can't find someone in your budget to be an organizer. That shouldn't be a hindrance for you organizing your closet. Or maybe the closet organization system that you're buying, you don't know how to put it together, right? Well, there's somebody on this earth that would help you with it, whether you pay them or whether it's a buddy, okay? That shouldn't be an obstacle for you not being organized because you just don't get started and you don't know how to do it, right? Make sure that you have a clear vision of what your endpoint wants to be and don't let anything get in the way. If you lack the skills or the knowledge, there's plenty of areas that you can get the skills and get the knowledge. Go online, grab a mentor, call somebody, ask for help, call your mammy or dad and say, hey, I need some help with this stuff. Usually they know how to do mundane stuff like that because they've had to do it themselves and they helped raise you, right? Get some knowledge out there. Don't allow lack of knowledge, lack of skills, or some kind of other World War II coming around. He didn't allow that to get in his way. He created his own income, created his own economy, and didn't allow outside influences to hinder his vision. So you and I, whatever it is you want to do, whether it's professionally or personally, don't allow anything to get in the way of that and keep your clear vision. Number 3, he had very high expectations. And that's not saying he was a perfectionist, but he wanted to be the best. He wanted himself to be the best. He wanted his end products to be the best. So anyone working with him had to give it their full go. And what I respect about Walt was that not only did he hold himself accountable, but he held other people accountable too. And you and I can do that too. So if you do have children, let's say, and you're telling them to pick up their toys, but yet your crap is all over the floor too, or all over the kitchen table, or, your bedroom's a mess too. There's clothes all over the place, right? How are you leading by example? That's what Walt did. He led by example. So if he was doing he wanted everybody else to do And that's how you and I can pick up a great habit from Walt, is having high expectation, not just for ourselves, but for the people around us. Now that's not saying that you don't accept them for who they are and you don't love them, but especially with children, you want to teach them by example. And the only way you can do that is if you have high expectations for yourself. Whether it's study hard in school. If you didn't study hard in school, how can you be an example to your child to study hard in school? They're going to say, well, you didn't study and you're doing okay. Yeah, but you want better, don't you? No. Go back to school. Do something that, read a book and, do something that shows them that you are serious about studying. It's as simple as that. When they see it from you, they're going to know that you're holding them in high expectation, and they're going to know that you're holding yourself in a high expectation. Number 4, he loved technology. Oops, I'm spelling things wrong here. Loved tech. So he was, other people had developed sound, things in film, and the color was starting to come about, because think of the time frame now. There was no color. A lot of the short films, and now think of Charlie Chaplin, silent films. Think of even the Three Stooges. It was in black and white, right? All of the films back then were in black and white. Well, towards the end of his life, in the middle 50s, I believe it was, color started coming out. And even Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, they ended up going back and colorizing it later on, right? He embraced technology. He knew that if he could make his end product, which were films, animated films, a certain way, that more people would gravitate to them. It would be more entertaining and they would love them because it was more real life kind of thing, right? All of his films, if you look at how he drew things, they were based on real life. It wasn't too cartoonish back in the day. Now everything is more soft and, more exaggerated with features than that. And that's what cartooning is. They kind of exaggerate ears or, the eyes aren't, they're a certain way so that you can show emotion and that, but it's very simple, right? And it's also exaggerated in different aspects of different people's bodies or, the animals' bodies or whatever. He loved technology and he embraced it. And he knew that if he grabbed the hold of a piece here and a piece there, that the whole product would be something new and something different that no one else is doing. So think of today, we have social media, right? It's still a newer technology. That's what I'm using today to bring this to you. 10 years ago, I would have never thought to be having, this is my personal office. I have a desk behind this camera here that you guys can't see, but I would never have thought that I would be doing this every day at lunchtime, learning things myself and then sharing what I'm learning with you guys so that all of us can create better habits together, right? Learning from other people, modeling what they did and bringing it into our own lives. Social media is an easy technology that we can embrace in 2019 and beyond, that we can get our message across. We can use the technology to not only get our message across, but to show people our products, demonstrate them, show them how they can solve their problems. Because why does everybody buy? It's to solve a problem. Everybody's got a problem with something, and that's what your product or service can do, right? Or you need a job. This is an easy way to show somebody your talents, to show them what you got to offer them, right? Embrace technology, embrace be newsworthy, and embrace the social media platforms. Think of anything else out there. So, to create videos, I have to then render some of them. I have to, slice and dice them and, do all this stuff. I'm just a general dentist, right? I learned a specific trade to fix people's teeth and mouths, and that's what it is. But I dig doing this stuff. Using technology to help create other products that people can use to improve their lives, not just their mouths, but their lives in general, their mindset, their action plan, the way that they, plan their day, their routines. And that's all that the habits are. I harp on habits and habitual behavior because that's where success starts. It starts with taking an idea, creating a plan, a vision, right? And then taking action on that. But you got to kind of do all this other stuff. You got to get past any obstacles. You got to have a vision of what you want the end to be like. If you want to lose weight, you got to have a picture in your mind of, what 20 pounds, hey, I used to fit in these jeans, right? I used to have a skinnier butt. I used to fit into these. If you know that that's your end point, go to it and don't let obstacles or adversity get in your way, right? So you have to embrace technology. Maybe you want to, let's take the weight loss for instance. You want to, lose weight. Well, there's tons of apps online. You might buy a bicycle that has classes that are already, all you have to do is get on the internet and type it in, and you can virtually go to their studio and go along with their workout. Like, there's so many things you can do now. Embrace the technology and make yourself a better person from it, okay? The last thing we can learn from Walt is He took his passion, he learned the skills, and he created his dream life. So I'm just going to say dream life. He wanted the world, especially, think of the time, they all lived through World War I and World War II, and think of the devastation that these people were around. Think of the negativity. Think of, what ideas were floating around at the time. Like, it's totally horrendous, right? He wanted a place that people could escape from that. He wanted a place that he could be proud to take his kids to. And he not only created the films that everybody enjoyed, but he also created, think of the Disney parks all over the world now, right? I don't know how many there are, but there are several in Europe. There's one in Asia. I don't know about Australia. I'll have to look that up. But, you have Disney World and Disneyland in the United States. Think of the atmosphere. He wanted to live in that atmosphere at all times. Now, yeah, he was a smoker. I don't know what other bad habits he had. He was a human being, right? And the whole journey that I'm trying to take you on with thinking about habitual behaviors. Now, everybody's human. This is our human experience. You're going to have, I like, chocolate and cookies once in a while and that. Last night I had a couple and I had a beer with my dinner, right? So that's definitely not on my low-carb diet, but you got to live too, right? It's just I'm not treating myself like that all the time so I don't gain weight, because for some reason my body doesn't like to burn up all of the calories that I love to eat, and I got to watch what I'm eating. He didn't allow obstacles to get in the way of his dream life. He made his own dream life. And you and I can do that too. So if there's something that you're not happy with in your life, your weight, your health, your career, how much money you're earning. Let's say, you earn X amount and you want to earn this much and you're not there. There's a gap there. You need to learn how to jump that gap. You don't allow anything to get in your way. You have a clear vision of that height that you want to do. You expect that you're going to do whatever it takes to go. You're going to embrace whatever knowledge you need to gain or skill set or technology to get there. And that's going to create your dream life. That's going to get you to that income that you want. Personally, if you want to be in a loving relationship, you need a clear vision, okay? Maybe you're overweight. Maybe you've been divorced once or twice. Maybe you have kids, or, there's always like baggage. We all talk about baggage, right? You have to have that clear vision. Everyone deserves to be loved, but you also have to love yourself first. You have to be okay with yourself. When you're okay with yourself, other people are going to be drawn to you. I'm confident as a dentist. I'm confident as a woman. I'm confident that I like to act goofy and make fun of people, make fun of myself. I act a little crazy. I'll break out in some dancing and stuff like that. And people think I'm kind of goofy, right? I'm okay with that because I have fun. And I don't want to be too serious all the time because it wears me out. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy my life. And that's my dream, right? Don't allow other people's expectations to hinder your own. You should be living your expectations, right? If you want to be around that person and you know that you're giving it your all, they're going to be drawn to you because you're giving it your all. And they know that you are a complete person. You're not desperate. You're not clingy. You're not like, oh my God, I just need to have a loving relationship, right? They know that you're okay with yourself. It just would be nice. I deserve it, but I'm okay if I don't have it. And that's how you draw things into your life. You have to start with you. You have to start with your vision, and that you need to have a high expectation for yourself. So we can learn a lot of things from Walt and his brother Roy. I don't think Roy gets enough credit for the things that he did too. He was kind of the guy behind the scenes. Walt was kind of the visionary, but Roy did a lot of things too. So the Disney brothers, we can learn a lot from them. Let's go through it real quick. 5 things besides imagination. And I know you'll say, you didn't even go into imagination or creativity. I think that is just a basic thing, right? Everybody would think of that when they thought of Walt Disney, how creative he was, how imaginative. You and I already have that capability, maybe not on their level, but on some other level. You can already use your imagination, creativity to get at it. Any problem, any obstacle, to live the life that you want, right? But these are 5 other things that you may not associate with Walt Disney. 5 other habits, 5 other things that you can, traits that you and I can involve in our own life. So let's go over them real quick. Number 1, adversity. He didn't allow World War I, World War II, not having any money anywhere. He never allowed the obstacles in front of him to get rid of his dream, okay? And you and I need to be like that too. No matter what obstacle, most obstacles are made and created in our own head by our own feelings and beliefs that something can't happen because this and that. There's always adversity in front of us. You need to squash that and believe in yourself, believe in your vision, which is number 2. You always have to have a clear vision on what your end product is, what your end goal is for yourself personally or professionally, right? And don't allow any obstacles to get in the way, because they're going to be there. But you need to be, okay, just expect it. Bring it on, right? I expect something to get in my way. And then you'd be like, and dodging it, right? Do a little jabbing and then dodge. And that's how you get around them. But you have to stick with your vision. Number 3, high expectation. For you to work with other people, for you to be a parent and guide your child into adulthood, you need to have high expectations for yourself. If you're teaching somebody something, you're an executive, you're a business owner, you've got to walk the walk. Because no one else is going to respect anything that you say or do unless you're showing them that it can be done. When you have a leadership role, and as a parent, you're definitely the leader of the group, you got to show your child what's going on and how to be a successful adult and to meander your way through life, right? And all of the adversity and obstacles that get in the way. You have to be the person that has high expectations for yourself and to show them, hey, I can do it, you can do it. Number 4, he loved technology. So this can be anything. He loved to learn new things, and he also saw the value in other people's ideas, visions of other technologies that he wasn't using. He wanted to make his products that he created, his ideas, even better. And he was always looking outwards to then bring inward. And you and I can do that too. Use technology. Use other people's methods. If you want to sell something on the internet, for instance, there's tons of people that are already doing it. Pick one person and then model them. Bring it into your own life, and then you can improve it. You can put your spin and twist on it. That's what he did. He used different pieces of technology, different people's ideas and visions, and then used it to create his own. And you and I can do that too, both professionally and personally. And the 5th thing is he lived his dream life. He created the life that him and his family wanted to live. He created an atmosphere that you and I spend a lot of money on to go take our families to. Even if it's just for a day or two, we are surrounded by people that have a life philosophy that they want to make this place better. They want to make the earth, humankind, as good and worthy as possible. And that's something that you and I can do. We can create our own, by having a vision, we can create our own dream life. Doesn't matter what it is. Everybody's different. What is it for you? You need to decide what it is that will create your dream life. If you want more money, you want to travel, you want to have 5 kids, you want to, build a business that goes on all around the world and become global, do it. Do what you have to do to live your passion. Anything you're passionate about will just drive you and fuel you to be a better person and to help share it with everyone. And that's the message today from me, the Habit Master, and also Walt Disney. I made this t-shirt here. It says, believe in possibilities. And that's something that you and I need to take away from today is Walt and his brother Roy believed in possibilities. And you and I can do that too. So remember, you can check out the Lunchtime with the Habit Master episodes on both iTunes and Spotify. And also go to my YouTube channel. It's called the Habit Master Channel. And subscribe. I've already got, I think, 13 subscribers. Woohoo! I'm trying to get to 100, so go there and subscribe. There's tons of videos on there of all kinds of different things that'll help improve your life. I look at stuff all the time. I try to, nab different ideas and ways of doing things that might be a little different than what I do. And then I upload them and show you guys too. All I'm doing is I'm a vessel and I'm passing on the stuff that I'm learning so we can all be successful, right? So that's it for me today. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Remember to subscribe to everything if you miss it. And that's it. Thanks for watching. And let's build good habits together.